Hello, everyone. Denisha Mahomes here. I will be discussing the underlying effects of sexual abuse. And my research question is, what effects does PTSD or other mental health issues have on sexually abused victims, ranging from children to adults? Emotional intensity warning. The presentation discusses sexual abuse and contains images which represent sexual abuse as well. As a brief overview, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, as well as other mental health issues have often been known to be one of the long-term and major results to stem from sexual abuse. Sexual abuse has no certain age, name, gender, or race associated with it. This non-consensual experience could happen to anyone, any individual. No one knows the underlying issues people face while and after their sexual abuse. The suffering from PTSD, as well as other mental health issues, have been some of the most recognized results continuous with the trauma gained within sexual abuse victims. The underlying mental health effects on the sexual abuse are important to the field of psychology because this field helps introduce treatments and therapy options sexual abuse victims need in order to properly cope with their trauma. Experiencing sexual trauma is no rarity. According to the Center of Disease Control Prevention, roughly 1 in 5 women and 1 in 38 men have experienced completed or attempted sexual violence in their lifetime. Sexual abuse is an indiscriminate form of trauma and can target children, teens, men, and adults of all ages. Individuals can become victims of sexual abuse every day. In 2011, it was reported that on average, 24 people per minute were victims of sexual violence, physical abuse, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States, meaning more than 12 million people, women and men, over the course of a year. Most childhood sexual abuse can lead to adulthood trauma that hunts and follows the victim as they age from childhood to adult. The CDC also recognizes that girls and women have been sexually abused at a more disproportionate rate compared to their male counterparts. This graph from the Bureau of Justice Statistics also confirms the rate of sexual abuse being higher for females, even dating back to 1995. This abuse is mostly caused by strangers or close friends of the family. However, there is a high number of sexual abuse as well. Disappointingly, not all survivors find it necessary to report sexual assault to the criminal justice system or acquire the support they need after the abuse occurs. The Bureau of Justice Statistics have estimated that only 15.8 to 35% of sexual assaults are reported to the police. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, it is estimated that 230 out of every 1,000 sexual assaults are reported to the police. That means only about 3 out of 4 go unreported, and a majority of perpetrators will not face incarceration. From 2005 to 2010, 20% of victims who did not report their case of sexual violence feared retaliation, and 7% did not report their sexual assault to avoid getting the perpetrator in trouble. In my situation, I was told not to say anything, and my sexual abuse was covered up and brushed off like it never happened, and thus never reported to the police. People feel ashamed, embarrassed, or even afraid in regards to conversations around sexual abuse. Yet, this lack of speaking up can result in mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual incapabilities, developing from the time of the abuse to the present. Many mental health disorders are known to be some of the biggest issues around mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual distress. As a victim of sexual abuse, I have never received the proper support or relief from the multiple symptoms developed, such as anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder episodes, and also PTSD. My own personal experience is why this topic is so important to me. I know that there have been many other people affected in the same way that I have, but like me, there are a lot of people that haven't gotten the proper care needed to mentally cope with their abuse. Most of these sexual abusers get away with their abuse because people are afraid to come forward with the information or confront the situation. By experience, my repeated abuse throughout life has caused a continual and growing spread of multiple traumas that negatively impact my mental health. For some, the trauma caused by sexual abuse can feel like an unending chain of negative emotions and experiences. Without aid to better mental health or being able to receive closure, having freedom and deliverance towards a better life will only leave individuals with figuring out how to cope with the abuse alone. And this concludes the presentation.